Peter Jones said to me, "Oh, if I offered you 10 million for it, would you take it?" And I said, "I wish they'd shown this," but I said no. And he was like, "What do you mean no?" And I was like, "No, I'm not selling it for 10 mil." And they just explained to me a lot about, because I went in there, I had a hard year last year, and I'm not trying to make anyone feel sorry for me, because why would they? I know I'm in a positive position, but I had a really hard year last year. And I was defeated when I went on Dragon's Den. I was done with everything. I love hair syrup and I love everything about it. But I had been ground down to a point through things that people had done, to a point where I hated. I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
I say every day, I can't do this anymore. I literally can't do this anymore. And when I went on Dragon's Den, they basically got clear in my head what I'm doing it for. They said, "Lucie, you need to know, what is your plan here? Do you want to exit? How are you going to do this? You need a clear goal, because you're just going and going and going. But what do you want to do with this?" And I stood there, I said, "I don't know." They're like, "Well, you got to know. You've got to get to know.
Yeah.
You've got to get a plan. You need an ambition here." They said, "Because you're just shooting for the stars, but you're shooting too wide and you're going to miss.
Yeah.
You need to tunnel vision." So I was like, okay. So I have now got a better idea of where I want the brand to go, what I see happening with it. I said that to them when I was on stage. I said, they were like, how much do you want to sell it for? As funny enough, Peter Jones said to me, "Oh, if I offered you 10 million for it, would you take it?" And I said, "I wish they'd shown this," but I said no. And he was like, "What do you mean no?" And I was like, "No, I'm not selling it for 10 mil. And
It's not a fair valuation, I think, on the property.
yeah, I know. I said no. And he was laughing, and he's like, "Oh, they could obviously see something in me, that they just knew she wants to."
And so now you've got that vision. So now you understand where you want the brand to take, and actually an interesting point that you want to take kind of investment.
I think I'll need to.
Yeah. And actually, I think having that sector-specific investment, particularly e-com sector-specific, helps with people that have gone on this journey multiple times and understand what that path looks like. And what does the journey look like now? Does it look like, right, 5 years, investment, see where it can go? Do you think there's just kind of 10, 15 years? Where do you want this brand to now get to a bit more clarity from having that experience in Dragon's Den?
Yeah, so like I said, they got everything pretty clear in my head. And they also made me, I know that a lot of people, when Deborah made those comments, everyone was like, "Oh, she's so mean." But actually, she was just saying to me, she was like, "Lucie, you need to carry yourself and hold your head high. Look what you've done. You are a founder. You're an entrepreneur. Start acting like one." And I actually turned around to all of them when I was on stage and I said, "How can I think about exit and this and that when last week I was having to pack orders because we went so viral and I had 3 staff off sick because I was in the business. Yeah. Now I'm on the business." Yeah. And they were like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Yeah. Because I think they couldn't understand that with a £6.5 million business that I would be packing the orders. I was like, "No, I cleaned the kitchen in the warehouse last week. We had a problem with our alarm, so I was there till 8 o'clock at night. I'm doing these things. I don't have anyone to sort the stuff out for me." So they were like, "Right, you need to do this. You need to do that. You need to get someone to manage that warehouse. You need to get out there. You need to network." So for the foreseeable, I get advice thrown at me left, right, center. You can probably imagine.
Yeah.
And everyone's, "Oh, do this, do that." But someone said to me the other week to just keep doing what I'm doing.
It's working.
And he was like, "You need to be careful listening to all these people who are telling you, and especially when they're trying to sell you something, because they all, a lot of the time they are." And he's just like, "You're doing amazing. Just keep doing what you're doing." And I think that's the first time anyone's ever said that to me without offering me some sort of, "You need to make this type of diagram and a forecast for this and a business 5-year plan." And I, whoa, okay. But he was like, "Just keep doing what you're doing. You're smashing it. The business is going to grow. Keep being the face of it. Keep running the front and center of it. You're doing amazing."